Cowboys are going to be featured on Hard Knocks for the first time since 2008, and there's some interesting storylines for a Cowboys team that has a ton of expectations coming in to this season. This is the gray area right here on 105.3 The Fan, your home of the Dallas Cowboys and Texas Rangers. My name is Kevin Gray. Of course, you can find me on Twitter at Kevin Gray Sports. Be sure to hit that subscribe button right there, right here on 105.3 The Fan, your undisputed home of the Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys are going to be returning to their training camp home for 2021 in Oxnard, California. Hard to believe that we're just 4 weeks away from the Dallas Cowboys opening up their preseason in the Hall of Fame game on August 5th against the Pittsburgh Steelers, as the Cowboys find themselves with a ton of expectations with their quarterback returning and the defense that was pathetic from a season ago looking to turn things around under new defensive coordinator Dan Quinn. A ton of storylines will be had on this year's version of Hard Knocks. The last time the Dallas Cowboys were on Hard Knocks, they were on there in 2008, coming off of a 13-3 season back in 2007, where, of course, they lost in the divisional round to the eventual Super Bowl champion New York Football Giants. In 2008, Wade Phillips was the head coach. Dave Campo was back as defensive backs coach. Some guy named Terrell Owens was running around in his 13th season as an NFL wide receiver. Pac-Man Jones was trying to get reinstated. And a guy named Danny Amendola was trying to make a squad where he eventually became a two-time Super Bowl champion in his own right. There's no shortage of storylines for this year's version of the Cowboys when it comes to Hard Knocks. And obviously it all starts with number 4. One Dak Prescott, who signed his 4-year, $160 million contract this offseason, will be, of course, the headliner when it comes to Hard Knocks this year. His leadership will be on full display. His ability to be the charismatic leader and superstar for this Dallas Cowboys football team will be permeating through all of Hard Knocks and this version of Hard Knocks for the Cowboys this year. He is the unquestioned leader for this football team, and coming back from a devastating ankle injury from a season ago, suffered in Week 5 against the New York Football Giants. All eyes, of course, will be on the quarterback position for the Dallas Cowboys. For Dak Prescott, this is a perfect opportunity for him to continue to show everyone that the confidence in that ankle is at 100%, and you and I can feel good about his ability to lead this team and remain healthy throughout the 2021 NFL season. Of course, he will have his offensive line back, and guys like Tyron Smith, Leo Collins, and Zach Martin, who missed 6 games last year due to concussion and calf injury. Leo Collins missing last year due to hip surgery. A guy in Tyron Smith missing pretty much all of 2021 due to neck surgery. So the Cowboys' fortified wall, if you will be back intact for Dak Prescott this upcoming offseason, which is good news for Ezekiel Elliott, looking to have a bounce back year after having just 979 yards, 6 fumbles last year, a career low 4.0 yards per carry last year. He looks to be trim, svelte, and a slimmer Zeke going into this upcoming training camp, which bodes well for his ability to remain healthy, but more importantly, be productive in a 17-game season. No other player in the NFL since 2016 has more touches than Ezekiel Elliott at over 1,600 touches since 2016. So you know the kind of workhorse he has been. Can he be fresh going into 2021? Not to mention, you've got a terrific trio of wide receivers in Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb, and Michael Gallup, who's in a contract year himself, and questions about whether or not he will remain with the Dallas Cowboys beyond this year. So no shortage of storylines for a Cowboys team offensively when it comes to Hard Knocks, and I'm sure that will be featured throughout this entire season of Hard Knocks on HBO. But this year is really going to focus on the defensive side of the football. Dan Quinn takes over a defense last year that gave up a franchise record 473 points, 34 passing touchdowns, 3rd worst in all the NFL, 31st in the NFL in rushing yards allowed per game, giving up nearly 160 yards per game. And also a team in the Cowboys that last year was 27th in the NFL when it came to 3rd down conversion rate against when it came to their opponents. Not to mention, this team also a myriad of issues when it came to their linebacking position, when it came to Jalen Smith and Leighton Vander Esch. Leighton Vander Esch, who had his 5th-year option declined by the Cowboys this year, is going into a massive year himself, where he's trying to prove that not only he can stay healthy, but he can be the kind of productive player that the Cowboys can see staying into their future. And, of course, there's Jalen Smith. Now, I don't know the over-under when it comes to how many swipes you're going to see on Hard Knocks, but I can bet you it's going to be quite a bit because your man is not going to be shy when it comes to the camera when it comes to Hard Knocks. So not only do you have the questions about the linebackers, but also the ones that you drafted. Yeah, you drafted Jabril Cox out of LSU, but you also took with your number 12 overall pick, Micah Parsons out of Penn State, who will be used in a myriad of ways in this Dan Quinn defense. And we'll get a little bit of a taste and look at Micah Parsons and how he's assimilating to not only the culture that is the Dallas Cowboys, but more importantly, being a focal point on a defense that has to improve from a season ago to give you the idea that they're playing the kind of complementary football that Dak Prescott and Mike McCarthy talked about with the Dallas Cowboys. So no shortage of storylines when it comes to this defense when you used your first 6 picks in this year's NFL draft on the defensive side of the football, including the aforementioned Micah Parsons, and then you backed it up in the second round by taking Kelvin Joseph, who, look, is going to be competing for a starting cornerback job while trying to also, see if he's a legitimate rapper. I'm sure you'll get some of that during Hard Knocks this season also. So you got your offensive storylines with Dak Prescott, the trio of wide receivers, Ezekiel Elliott, the offensive line coming back, Blake Jarwin also coming back from his torn ACL. Then you've got the defensive side of the football and all the questions that remain with this linebacker core with Jalen Smith and Leighton Vander Esch, Micah Parsons trying to fit in. Can this defensive line become much better and more productive when it comes to guys like DeMarcus Lawrence and Randy Gregory and how he continues to come back, where he now has a full offseason for the first time to really show us if he can be the kind of player that we think we've seen in spurts from him during his time with the Cowboys. And of course, secondary will always be a major question. Obviously, Trevon Diggs coming into another year. Can he be the type of shutdown corner alongside Kelvin Joseph that gives you confidence that this passing defense won't be as pathetic and as putrid as it was a season ago? Then there's Mike McCarthy. Mike McCarthy last year, for some folks, was given a little bit of a pass given the fact that he was a first-year coach for the Cowboys, that is, in a pandemic year, and things just simply didn't work out, especially from an injury standpoint, where you had the tremendously bad luck and the string of injuries that this team had. Mike McCarthy is going into his most important season, I think, as an NFL head coach, period. Because Mike McCarthy's got to prove to you and I that he can still do this in the NFL. Last year, beset by poor decision-making at times, his inability to manage clock. We say, Kevin, these are some of the things that we saw from him when he was in Green Bay, yet Aaron Rodgers continued to bail him out time after time. We'll see if Mike McCarthy can put the trust in guys like Kellen Moore on the offensive side as his offensive coordinator, Dan Quinn as the defensive coordinator, and become more of the CEO, if you will, to make sure that he's managing the game the way that he needs to make the best decisions possible for his football team and not doing things like going for, 4th and forever in your own territory with fake punts, Mike McCarthy. Remember that Washington game? Yeah. So Mike McCarthy's got a lot to prove. He's going to be on the hot seat going into this upcoming season because of the amount of expectations that are set for this football team. You will get to see firsthand not only how Mike McCarthy manages his day-to-day operation, but also when it comes to developing player relationships and continuing to do so in a much better way than what he was able to do a season ago when the pandemic really didn't allow him to do those kinds of things. He should be much more hands-on, but more importantly, for a football team, giving the air of confidence, he should give the air of confidence to his team that desperately needs it, knowing the kind of expectations that they have this year. And obviously, you'll have your training camp storylines with undrafted rookies or rookies on the bubble trying to make the football team, what that looks like in preseason, and the expectations that those rookies will have to try and make a squad or be a contributing member to this football team. All those ancillary storylines will come about. There will be breakout stars that will make us fall in love with certain Cowboys football players and give us an opportunity to root for them during training camp when it comes to Hard Knocks. So again, all this to say, is this a distraction for the Cowboys? I don't think you should look at it that way. This is a perfect opportunity for a Cowboys football team to, yes, be on Hard Knocks because they really had no choice in being picked by Hard Knocks since they did not meet any of the criteria to not be picked by them. But they should embrace this chance. Not look at it as a negative when it comes to the quote-unquote distraction that is the evasive Hard Knocks that will be all over them, covering them. But more importantly, can they overcome yet what would be quote-unquote another distraction, if you will? If they embrace this opportunity and moment, it should be a galvanizing opportunity for the Cowboys to take advantage of if they believe that they are the team that they say they are and the team that has come together during this offseason and are trying to do so and project that kind of confidence to you and me. I guess we'll see if they ultimately can do so. The first episode of Hard Knocks will be debuting sometime in August, but at the same time, got to look forward to for this Cowboys team, hopefully, when it comes to this NFL season. You can find me on Twitter at Kevin Gray Sports. Be sure to hit the subscribe button right here for 105.3 The Fan on YouTube. This has been another episode of The Gray Area on 105.3 The Fan, your undisputed home of the Dallas Cowboys and Texas Rangers. We'll talk to you later. Peace.